Hello everyone, how are you doing? It's Saturday afternoon, it's Graham here again. I hope you're all feeling well. I am just setting myself up here for a little solo playthrough of The Walking Dead All Out War. And I thought, well, seeing as it's solo and there's no one else around, I'll perhaps share it up on the feed here and maybe there'll be something of interest for you to have a look at. You can see how the game plays. I'm just going to set up the and maybe there you go, a bit of lag, but we've got I can see the comments if anyone's there. I think if I do that, there you go, comments are on, so I'll keep a check on those for you. So let me explain the situation we have here. So we're going to be playing one of the scenarios from the Prelude to Woodbury, which is a standalone game or standalone expansion for The Walking Dead All Out War. It allows you to do solo play. Realistically, you can do that even with the All Out War Basic Edition anyway. So no great hassle there. What it does come with is a set of solo event cards, which we're going to be using during the game. So I'm going to put those away off camera there. And it introduces this character here. Let's see if I can get him to appear. There you go. This is Brian Blake with a complete set of limbs, no spoilers, before he becomes the governor of Woodbury. And I've just noticed, you'll have to excuse my fingernail, I've been painting, and sometimes when I'm holding figures I use my fingernail as a bit of a palette. I should have perhaps checked that before we went live. Anyway, it doesn't matter, you all know me. So he's down, he starts just off the edge of the board, round about here. There you go, it's just on the very edge of the board. And the idea is he's been sent by his brother, who is controlling him at the moment, to try and pick up some supplies from this board here. So we have got two vehicles here, two ruined vehicles, a couple of barricades, and then we have some supplies. So we have an abandoned suitcase here, there's a bag of guns here, there's some canned food in the back of the truck here, and there's an old TV set here with some video cassettes and a baseball bat on top there. The idea being that Brian Blake, the governor, before he's the governor, has to make his way around the board, pick up as many supplies as he can. The end game is controlled by this device here. This is the threat level marker. So the threat level marker starts on 1. During a game this will advance. As it advances, the game becomes a little bit more tricksy, a little bit more difficult. The threats become worse, and the game will end when the threat level hits 18, which happens sometimes quite quickly. It is quite difficult to keep this under control, and it's something you need to bear in mind. Certain things will affect this. There are events that will come out that will affect this, but also there are various actions you will take. So if you shoot a gun, for example, that causes a lot of noise, mayhem, which increases this level. If there's melee happening during a round, then this will increase the level, and so on and so forth. So we'll keep this to one side, and I'll keep you informed of the threat level as we go through. And let's introduce you to the character himself. So you've seen the figure, and this is the character sheet for him here. So this is Brian Blake before Woodbury. If you've not played this before, there are some special dice included in the set. Red dice are the weakest dice, white dice are somewhere in the middle, and then there are some blue dice which are uber dice, which he hasn't got anything of. And the number of dice that you roll using melee, shoot or defense obviously depends how good they are. It kind of dictates how good they are, and the number of successes, as we'll explain as the game goes on. And he has a special rule called Tenacious. So when he loses his last health point, he gets to roll on another dice we've got to see if he remains in play, standing or not. Okay, so that's him. And then we are also using here the weapon that he's armed with. So there's an equipment card here. He's got a Beretta pistol, automatic pistol. It's a handgun. So it adds a white dice to his ranged attack. So when he shoots, he gets whatever his ranged shooting ability is in dice plus this extra dice. It tells you it causes mayhem at the bottom. and it says it's reliable. And again, if it comes up during the game, I'll explain it. But basically, if you score a head hit on a walker, a zombie, there's a good chance that it's going to run out of ammunition. Reliable allows you to re-roll that, I believe. So he has the option to use that. When he searches these supplies that are dotted around, he also gets to pull equipment or cards from a separate supply deck. So we will find other equipment as we go on. Okay, so we'll give those a shuffle. Excuse me, and we'll begin. So on a round, let's break the round down for you. Characters have actions they can take. They can take 2 actions. The 2 actions they take, unless the cards say otherwise, are actions which must be different. So he can walk, he can run, he can shoot, so on and so forth. So the problem is with running is you do attract the walkers. So it's something that we need to sort of be aware of the right time to do it. So let's start. I don't know if you can see him. He's just off camera because I couldn't quite get it all in the shot. Let's see it there. So he's about 3 or 4 inches back off to your left there. So we'll start then with the action phase. So again, this is a solo version, so therefore there's no initiative to roll for. If you were playing multiplayer, you'll have initiative rolls, which is obviously can be quite imperative. And then we activate a model with 2 actions. So I'm going to activate the governor to first of all do a walk, a sneak move. So that's your standard 4-inch move, and there they give you these little handy rulers. So the rulers have got the movement for the survivors on one side and movements for the walkers on the other. So we're going to do a sneak action first. So 4 inches, and we're going to start heading off over to here, I think, straight away. So that's a sneak to there. There you go. So he's just on the edge of the table now. I don't know if you can quite see him. Let's shove him a little bit further. There you go. So 4 inches there gets him onto there. And let's have a go straight away with some shooting, shall we? So his second action, he's going to attempt to shoot. Now, looking at the card for the Beretta, it's got a range of 10 inches, and we're going to check that now. You can check range at any time with this game. There's no hidden information like that. So that's within 7 inches. So it certainly is within range of that walker there. He could potentially shoot this walker here if he wanted, but there's a bit of cover in the way, so it's probably going to make it a little bit more difficult. And also this one stood right by a big bag of resources, of supplies. So the way that we do the shooting is quite straightforward. We're going to look at the stats for him. So let's get the card in there so you can see. So his shoot is white dice. And remember that we said he was armed with the Beretta. That adds a white dice to ranged attack. Okay, so I'm going to be rolling these 2 white dice here. You can see the mixture of results on there. The number of splats on there is a number of hits. If you have an exclamation mark, that's a headshot, which will obviously instantly kill a walker, and blanks are misses. So we'll be rolling these to see how many hits we get. A walker will get a defense roll. There's no cover involved, so it's just the 1 dice for the walker. The walkers roll a red dice in defense. Okay, so it's as simple as that. So with his shot, we'll roll the 2 dice here, and he gets a square, 3 hits and an exclamation mark. So there's no way with this red dice that the walker's going to be able to defend that, because the most they get is 2. So 3 hits against 1 defense. It's a head hit, so this walker straight away is blown away. Okay, so that one comes off the table. Now, unfortunately, it does cause mayhem. So mayhem increases the threat level from 1 to 2 because of the noise it's created. So it goes up 1 on the marker. And then all walkers within 10 inches are attracted to the noise. So we'll get our handy dandy 10-inch ruler out. And we've got 1 over here, which is within 10 inches. And everyone else is away. So this guy here is going to start his shamble. Now they move directly towards the noise. Okay, so let me show you on here. They move or shamble 6 inches. So he's going to move 2.5 to there, and he hits a truck. He then continues the shortest route around the truck, so 2.5, 3, 4. So he's going to get to about here. Okay, so he sort of bonks into the truck and continues around there. Okay, and also, as I say, we rolled an exclamation mark, which means that he scored a head hit which killed that walker, which is great, but it also means that potentially the weapon will be out of ammunition. So we're going to roll one of these 50-50 dice, this black dice with shields and blanks on. Okay, if he rolls a shield, then it has no effect, and if he rolls a blank, then the weapon's empty. But remember, the gun is reliable, so he gets to re-roll it if it fails. So there's a blank. So initially the gun would be empty. It's a reliable weapon. We'll give it another roll, and the reliability of the weapon pays off, and he manages to keep himself going. So not too bad for Brian Blake on the first turn. Okay, so that's his 2 actions complete. We then move on to the events phase. So first of all, we need to check if anyone is in a walker's kill zone, and this is the kill zone template here. And what we'll do is we'll place it over the characters or the walkers and see if anyone's in distance. So let's just get him on camera so you can see there. So we'll place it over here, and the walker is just outside of his kill zone. This walker is just outside of his kill zone, so therefore he won't shamble forward. What happens is they automatically shamble forward into contact if they're within the kill zone. So it's good to keep some distance between you and the zombie guys. Okay, so that's the first part of the event phase. The second part of the event phase is to pull a card from this events deck here. Okay, so let's see what we get, and this is where the narrative of the story begins. So here we go. So there's a storm a-coming. Okay, so at the moment our threat level is all quiet, so nothing happens yet, but it does tell us that the threat level will go up 1. So we're now on threat level 3. Okay, and then had the threat level been higher, then there would be different effects. So at the moment we've just put the threat level up 1. Nothing's occurring immediately. Okay, so that's there. Then it's the end phase. So any walkers that have been knocked down, we roll to see if they stand up. And if there are any survivors who have been bitten, we roll to see if they turn. Okay. Now, because this is a solo game, it advances the threat level again at the end of the turn. So we're now on threat level 4, which is low threat. Okay. Actually, I'll see if we can, I don't know if I can get this on camera for you for a minute, just so you can see how this works. So we're now on low threat level there. Okay, and then we go back to the second turn now, and it's Brian Blake's turn to move. So let's have a look to see what we're going to do. Is he within? He's not quite within sneak range of that there. So what he'll do, he can't quite make it. He's going to sneak over to here. So he's just about an inch away. He can't quite make it to the item. I don't think now it would be wise to keep shooting, because he had a close call, nearly running out of ammunition, and there are only 3 walkers left on the board, so I don't really want to attract those. So he can do an alternative action where he can try and sort of hold his nerve. So this is a way that you can start to affect this track. Basically what you're going to do is roll the black dice and see if you can actually reduce the threat level by 1. So it's a very simple action. Okay, hold nerve. So he's rolled black dice. If he gets a shield, the threat level reduces by 1. He doesn't, so it was a wasted action, but worth the effort at this stage. Okay, we then go into the events phase. So first of all, we check to see if anything is in his kill zone, and there's nothing in his kill zone at all. So they're just shambling around at the moment, ignoring him. And we'll check then the events card to see what happens. So as you can see, this is quite a fast moving game. You know, it ticks along at a fair old pace. So event card number 2. Okay, so we are now +1 on the threat, and that's still low threat. and the card is Pandemonium. So here we go. Roll a purple die and move that many eligible walkers towards the nearest survivor. Then a white die's worth of walkers enter play. Okay, so I like to randomise this because it's obviously a solo game. We have 3 walkers on the table, so we're going to roll the blue die here, and that's telling me that 2 eligible walkers will walk towards the nearest survivor, so it's going to be him. So again, I'll randomise this with the dice normally. So we've got 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the first one. This one, 1, 2, 3. So that will shamble 6 inches directly towards him. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's a 5. So the one that's here will shamble 6 inches towards him. So again, they're getting closer. And then it's telling me that a white die's worth of walkers appear. So 1 white die, 2 more walkers appear. So luckily enough, I've got a box full of walkers here. We're going to put on Bloated Corpse Guy. There you go. So look at that figure there. There you go. And Not So Bloated T-shirt Girl. Let's see if we can get that to focus. There, boom, there you go. Okay, and again, they're going to come on at random locations. So again, I like to randomise this. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the first walker is going to come on here, and I just plonk them in the middle. He appears, and then the second walker, we've rolled a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that one's going to pop on there behind him. You can't quite see it, it's just off on the camera on the left there. So that's the events phase. There's nothing that's going to happen in the end phase because there were no knockdown walkers. And then we move on to the next turn. So we now move the threat level up 1. So it was on 5, now becomes 6. We're still on low threat, but it's creeping up at a fair old rate. And it's time for Brian Blake to take his action. So his first action is going to be a sneak. Okay, so that will get him, he can move up to 4 inches sneaking, so that gets him in contact with that supply token there. We then will search the supply token. So essentially that means that he takes the supply token, that'll come off. We'll put that onto his character card to show that he's searched 1. And we're going to pull out from the supply deck here a card. Okay, I've got quite a few of these. Obviously you get, I think there's a fair stack in the game initially when you buy it, but I've mixed in all the ones that I've had from different expansions into here, so there's a good mix of supplies, and we're going to see what he gets here. So here we go. I'll pull one out. Okay, he's found a hunting knife. Okay, so that's pretty good. It's a dual wield item, sharp, and it will add a red dice to his melee attack. Now, the way this works, on his character card, if I show you again, we've got various locations. So he has 3 backpack spaces. He has a head space where he can wear obviously a helmet or head armor. He can carry an item in that hand, an item in that hand, and he could have something attached to his body there, like some riot armor or a leather jacket or something like that. Okay, so we're going to attach this knife as an item. So he's now got 2 items in hands. He's got his pistol and he's got a hunting knife. So he feels a little bit better, but the problem is he has hung about in the middle now and the walkers are going to be coming after him. So that's his action phase. We then move to the event phase. So first of all, we need to check if anything's in his kill zone. And again, this one is just out. This one is just out. And this fellow is, and the 2 on the edges are out. So at the moment they're still shambling around, paying very little attention to him. He's been quite lucky so far, but I don't think he's going to hold out for too long. And then obviously nothing happens with that. We pull an event card. Okay, so here we go. Roamers. So at the moment we're on low threat. Move 1 eligible walker towards the nearest survivor. Okay, so, and there's no modifier to the threat level, which is good. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 walkers. So I roll a d6, we'll re-roll sixes. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the one at the back will shamble forward towards him. There you go, you can see his dinner there. And then that's the end of the round. So we'll move the threat level up to 7. Okay, you can see now that things are starting not to go quite his own way. He's only picked up 1 supply marker, but he's now starting to attract the attention of the walkers, the roamers, or the zombies, whatever you want to call them. So we go back to his action phase. I think first of all, he's probably going to try a run. So we'll do a run action. So running means he moves a whole 8 inches. But the problem is that does cause noise. Noise will attract the nearest walker to him. So let's have a look. So if he runs 6, 8, should get him to the truck. So that's one action. That creates noise. That doesn't affect the threat track at the moment. Let's put the threat track back in the camera shot so you can see. So it's still on 7. But it will attract the nearest walker. And the nearest walker is going to be this fella. Obviously he's going to come towards him. So, and he always, again, shambles in a straight line. So he'll move 1 inch into the truck. And then take the shortest route. Could be either way, around. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which doesn't quite put him in contact yet. Okay, then Brian Blake can take his second action. Now, it might be wise to shoot that guy, that walker, before he gets there, but the objective is to try and get the supplies. So he's gonna take a chance and search action. There's a cans of food there, representing the supply token, and we'll see what he pulls from the supply deck, if it's anything that's going to be useful for him. So here we go, let's see what he gets. And he's found some bandages. So if he loses health points, and he has 5 health points at the beginning of the game, if he loses health points for an action, he can use the bandages to heal himself, and he's going to put those into his pack. So he's still got 2 more spaces in his backpack. Okay, we then move to the events phase. So first of all, is there anything in kill zone? So we know these guys are not, but this one most certainly is. So he will come straight in and attack him. Okay, so that's as easy as that. And then we draw an event card before we do resolve the melee. So the event card is, first of all, too quiet. +1 to the threat level. So threat level is still low, it becomes 8. All quiet and low threat. The walkers suddenly stop and nothing seems to happen. Add 1 to the threat level. So now we're on medium threat level. Threat level 9, so we're halfway through the game already. Okay, halfway through where we need to try and avoid being to end the game. Okay, we then move into the melee phase. There is a melee phase because there's combat, so that pushes the threat level up to 10. Okay, and now we're going to do the melee. So melee's, again, simply done with the dice. Brian Blake has an option. He can attack or he can defend. If you attack, then there's a possibility you can kill the walker. If you defend, you can't kill it, but you might get more dice to protect yourself. I don't think he's that kind of guy, so he's going to attack. So in his melee, he gets a white dice for melee, and then he also gets, because he's using the hunting knife, he gets to use a red dice as well. Okay, and some of the weapons have got keywords on. So the hunting knife says dual wield and sharp. Okay, the dual wield allows you, if you're using 2 weapons together, to re-roll 1 of the dice. And the sharp, when using this weapon, if you roll a black dice after winning melee, then your victim loses another health point, which won't make any difference to zombies, but certainly is when you're doing a sort of survivor versus survivor action. So Brian Blake's going to be rolling these, and he only gets 1. And in defence, the walker has 1 red dice. So really what we need is a 1. Okay, so it's a 1-1, so nothing happens other than the fact that he fends it off. Okay, so he doesn't knock it down, he doesn't beat it, he just fends it off. They're at equal scores. He needs to beat that, and in particular he really needs to see exclamation marks so he can kill the walker. If you get an exclamation mark when a walker attacks one of the survivors, that's bad. That's usually a bite. Okay, so that's the end of the melee phase. So he survived that one quite well. Because we're solo, we ramp up the threat level again. We're now on threat level 11, and we turn on to the new phase. I think what he's going to do is he's going to make a sneak action towards this supply marker here. He's not going to get there. He's only going to get halfway. And then for his second action, he's going to try and hold the nerve to reduce this threat level. So he's rolling this, looking for a shield, which he does. So threat level goes down 1 to 10. Okay, it's now the event phase. We clearly haven't got anything in his kill zone, so he's all good. And we're then going to be pulling a card from the event deck. So we've got Frayed Nerves. We're now at medium threat level, so we don't read this top piece. We've got this one here. Okay, medium threat level. 1 model with low or medium nerve of the player's choice creates mayhem. If there are no eligible models, add 1 to the threat level. Okay, so let's explain nerve. The characters have a nerve rating here. Okay, he's medium, somewhere in the middle. There is low nerve and high nerve. It's basically how long they're going to stay around before they break. If this threat level, which is medium, goes into high, then he will have to test each turn to see what he actually does. He starts to lose his nerve. Okay, but say the card effect is someone with medium nerve level causes mayhem. So mayhem is a lot of noise. A lot of noise always pushes up. Mayhem pushes up threat level 1. And then all walkers within 10 inches are attracted towards him, which isn't good because he almost made it to this marker. So this one clearly is within 10. So he will shamble 6 inches towards him, which puts him into contact. This walker is clearly within 10. Yep, shamble 6 inches towards him, makes contact. There's one over here, just off camera on the right hand side here, which will shamble towards him but doesn't make it. There's one here, which again will shamble, doesn't make it. And this one here, shamble, doesn't make it. So he's now facing off against 2 walkers, which is not good. Okay, so that was the event phase. We then move into the melee phase. So is there any melee? Yes, there is. We increase the threat level to 12. Okay, and the way this works is Brian Blake will get the same number of dice. So he'll get 1 for his melee ability, 1 for the knife. Okay, but the walkers work a little bit differently. 1 walker will have 1 dice. When they start to gang up, the next walker will have 2 dice. Okay, so the odds are stacked against him a little bit now. So let's see what he gets. So Brian Blake, let's roll him up on here. Only 1 dice. And again, he chose to attack, not defend. And then there are 1, 2, 3 dice against him. That is all. Oh my God. I'm glad that was caught on camera. That is like the worst case scenario that you will ever see. So he has taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 hits and is bitten. Here it is here. So he has 5 hit points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 takes him down to there. He's bitten, which is over to there. Okay. So he is tenacious. So when he loses his last health point, you roll a black dice, and on a shield he remains in place, standing with 1 health point. So this is his last moments. Let's see if he can come back from this. No, unfortunately not. So in this scenario, very quickly Brian Blake gets himself surrounded, bitten, and is unfortunately he bites the dust. It's a bit of a shame he didn't get to survive that, because he could have potentially used his bandages in the next round to heal himself. As you can see, the game, it plays quite fast. It's very simple, and it creates a narrative scenario. And because you're using the events deck here, every game is different. You know, I tend, again, personal preference. This is the solo deck that comes with the Prelude to Woodbury set. I tend to use the standard decks because it works just the same. You sometimes have to just jiggle around and randomise where the walkers come on and which ones move towards the characters, and to give you some idea of the kind of events that can happen. Again, we have ones where lots of extra walkers enter play. One of my favourites is this one, the car alarm, and a car alarm will randomly go off. So you can, you know, be in a situation like this where you think it's all over, and suddenly a car alarm goes off somewhere and drags them all off somewhere else. There's a herd one in here which is not good, and there's another one where they won't stay down and they keep popping up. So as you can see, there's you know, it gives quite from the base set of Prelude to Woodbury, the solo events cards. There's quite a few in there. So I know it's quite a short video. I hope that gives you some idea of how it plays solo. Please feel free to take a look at the website, www.tabletopheroes.co.uk, and have a look on there for the product range. If there's anything that you'd like to know about, then please send me a message. And please, as always, if you'd like to talk about painting figures and the accessories for any tabletop game, give me a shout. And again, for your own information, these are the, you can see these objective sets, objective markers that come with the scenery set. Also included in the scenery pack are these cars and vans. So there's a bashed up car and there's a bashed up pickup truck there. And also you'll get some of these barriers. Okay. Oh, and there you go. There's an abandoned suitcase there. So a bit short and sweet, I know. Brian Blake, unfortunately, is not going to be able to survive or have a lot of luck against a roll like that against him. So yeah, unfortunately, the whole comic book series will pan out differently because he died early on. I'll perhaps do another one of these again soon. Hope you enjoyed it, and keep safe, and I'll catch up with you soon. Thanks for watching.